Listen to me. Michael Jordan didn't become great because he could jump high. He didn't become the GOAT because he had talent. Nah, that wasn't it. He became great because losing wasn't even an option. You got to hear me. This man was wired differently. Every time he stepped on that court, it wasn't about basketball anymore. It was about life. And that's why I'm telling you, if you want to be successful, if you want to dominate your industry, your classroom, your business, your life, you got to learn why Michael Jordan couldn't lose. Because when you understand his mindset, you stop playing small. You stop making excuses. You start locking in. So don't you click away. Don't you scroll past this message, because by the time this video ends, you're going to understand what separates the good from the great and the great from the legendary. Let's get it. Let's get it. Let me tell you something. Pain is the most powerful energy source on this planet. It can break you or it can build you. Michael Jordan, he chose to let it build him. When he got cut from his high school basketball team, he didn't go home crying forever. He didn't blame the coach. He didn't say, life's not fair. Nah, he went home, locked himself in that gym, and made a promise. You will never outwork me again. See, most people get hurt once and they quit. Somebody rejects them. Somebody laughs at their dream. Somebody tells them you're not good enough. And boom, they stop showing up, but not MJ. That pain hit different because he turned it into fuel. Every early morning, every late night practice, every drop of sweat, it came from that moment of rejection. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine being a kid, walking up to that gym door, hoping your name is on that list, and it's not. You feel that burn in your chest, that lump in your throat. Most people walk away defeated, but Jordan, he walked away driven. That's what greatness does. It takes disappointment and turns it into discipline. He went home that night and cried, but when the tears dried, he didn't scroll, he didn't sulk, he worked. He turned that pain into purpose. He shot hundreds, then thousands of jump shots. He studied the game. He worked on his weaknesses until they became his strengths. That's the part nobody talks about. He wasn't born unstoppable. He became unstoppable through pain. And that's the same blueprint for your life. You lost a job? Good. That's your gym moment. Somebody left you? Good. That's your fuel. You failed an exam, missed your target, fell short of your dream? Good. Because pain reveals who's serious. Pain separates the talkers from the doers. I remember talking to a young man who grew up without a father. He said, E.T., that pain made me angry for years. I told him, use that anger. Don't let it make you bitter. Let it make you better. And that's what he did. He became the father he never had. That's what MJ did. That's what every champion does. They don't run from the wound. They train with it. You see, every time you feel pain, you have a choice to surrender or to transform. Pain is life's invitation to rise higher. Jordan didn't win because he was the most talented. He won because he knew how to convert pain into performance. So I'm asking you today, what pain are you sitting on? What rejection are you still replaying? Stop letting it drain you. Let it drive you. Let it become your story, your reason, your spark. Because the moment you stop avoiding pain and start using it, that's the moment you become unstoppable. That's when losing stops being an option. Just like Michael Jordan, you got to take that pain and turn it into fuel. Let me tell you something. The reason most people never reach greatness is because they only work hard when somebody's watching. They only give their best when the lights are on, when the cameras are rolling, when it's game day. But Michael Jordan, he practiced like he was losing, even when he was winning. That's the difference. That's the mindset that separates the average from the unstoppable. Listen, MJ didn't walk into practice to have fun. He came to dominate. His teammates said it felt like a war zone in there. Every drill, every scrimmage, every shot, he treated it like the NBA Finals. He didn't need a crowd. He didn't need applause. His motivation was internal. He didn't practice for attention. He practiced for excellence. You got to hear me. Practice was his battlefield. Most people think the game is where you win. Nah, the game just shows what you've been doing when no one was looking. The game just exposes your habits. Michael Jordan understood that. That's why he trained like he was the worst player on the team, even when he was the best in the world. There's a story about one of his teammates, Scott Burrell. During a season practice, MJ went at him hard, yelling, pushing, challenging every play. Reporters asked MJ, "Why are you so tough on him?" You know what he said? "Because when the finals come, I don't want him to break." That's it right there. Jordan practiced like he was losing, not to prove a point, but to prepare to win. That's what true leadership looks like, holding yourself and everyone around you to a standard that hurts. Because growth hurts, pressure hurts, but pressure also builds diamonds. There was a young athlete I once mentored, talented kid, could have gone pro, but he had one problem. He only worked hard when it was game time. When the gym was empty, he slacked off. When nobody was watching, he cut corners. And I told him, son, if you practice like a winner, you'll play like a loser. But if you practice like a loser, desperate, hungry, obsessed, you'll play like a champion. That's what MJ embodied. He didn't wait for a scoreboard to push him. He pushed himself every single day. You got to understand this. If you only give 100% when people are cheering, you'll never be great. But if you give 120% when nobody cares, you're already great. Jordan's work ethic was legendary because he never let comfort creep in. He created his own pressure. He acted like he was down 20 points in practice because he knew that's what real greatness requires, consistency under self-imposed demand. So the next time you think you're grinding, ask yourself, are you working like a winner or like you're losing everything tomorrow? Because the real ones, they prepare like they've already failed so that when life throws its hardest punches, they don't flinch. Michael Jordan didn't become the greatest because of game day. He became the greatest because of what he did before game day. He practiced like he was losing because he refused to ever lose again. Michael Jordan had a line that became legendary. I took that personally. People laugh at it now, make memes, joke around, but that phrase is the reason he became who he was. See, for Jordan, every bit of doubt, every word of disrespect, every whisper that said he couldn't, he took it personally. He didn't argue. He didn't clap back. He went to work. He turned every ounce of criticism into motivation, every doubt into domination. That's what greatness does. It listens to negativity and turns it into noise that fuels the grind. When somebody told him he couldn't do something, he didn't hear, you can't. He heard, prove them wrong. That's the difference. Most people let people's opinions drain their energy. MJ used them to charge his. He didn't need a reason to compete. He just needed a reminder that someone somewhere didn't believe. And every time he stepped on that court, he played like the world had disrespected him. Because to him, it wasn't just a game, it was personal. There's a story that sums this up perfectly. A rookie once said before a game, I think I can guard Jordan. Rookie confidence, right? But that night, MJ dropped 54 points on him. After the game, he said nothing because he didn't have to. The performance spoke. That's how you respond to doubt. Not with words, but with work. You let your results do the talking. You don't debate your worth, you demonstrate it. Too many people let rejection turn them cold. They hear no, and they stop showing up. They hear you can't, and they shrink. But Jordan used no like gasoline. He didn't let it destroy him. He let it drive him. You got to start taking it personal when people doubt you. You got to look at every failure, every comment, every closed door and say, all right, now I'm going to show you. That's what real competitors do. They don't take it as an insult. They take it as instruction. I remember working with a young man who was trying to start his own clothing brand. Everybody laughed at him, said he'd never make it. His first few launches flopped. His friends stopped supporting him, and he almost gave up. I told him, take it personal. He looked at me confused. I said, don't take it as hate. Take it as a challenge. That same kid came back 2 years later with his clothes in national stores. He said, E.T., I took it personal. That's the mindset Jordan had, relentless accountability. He wasn't mad at the world. He just refused to accept being average. He turned disrespect into discipline. He didn't need validation because he was the validation. When you take your dream personally, you stop needing approval. You stop waiting for people to understand your vision. You just execute. So the next time someone doubts you, don't argue. Don't explain. Don't post about it. Just smile and say, I took that personally. Then go build something they can't ignore. Because the greatest revenge isn't anger, it's excellence. Michael Jordan never competed against other players. He competed against himself. That's what made him unstoppable. Every time he stepped on the court, his mission wasn't to beat the man in front of him. It was to beat the man he was yesterday. Most people spend their whole lives trying to outdo others, chasing approval, chasing status, chasing comparison. But MJ understood the real fight was internal. He wasn't chasing another man's record. He was chasing his own standard. That's the mindset that breeds greatness. When you stop trying to win against others and start trying to win within yourself. Because when you're competing with others, your energy depends on what they do. But when you're competing with yourself, your energy comes from within. Jordan woke up every morning with the question, how can I be better than I was yesterday? That's why he never got satisfied. 6 championships, 5 MVPs, 10 scoring titles, and still he'd walk into practice like he hadn't achieved a thing. He was addicted to improvement. There's a story about one season when the Bulls won the championship, and the next morning while everyone else was celebrating, Jordan was back in the gym. Someone asked him, why are you here? He said, because someone else out there is working, and I can't let them outwork me, not even for one day. That's what it looks like when you compete with yourself. You don't rest when you win. You reset and reload. I once knew a young woman who built her business from the ground up. She started with nothing, no money, no support, just a vision. After her first year, she made her first million. Most people would have celebrated for months, but she didn't. She went back to work the next day. When I asked her why, she said, because the person I was yesterday is not the person I want to be tomorrow. That right there, that's the Jordan spirit. She wasn't competing with others in her field. She was competing with her own potential. That's what so many people miss. You're not losing because someone else is better. You're losing because you stopped challenging yourself. You stopped demanding more. You got comfortable. You started comparing your chapter 1 to somebody else's chapter 20. You started measuring your progress by likes, followers, money, and you forgot the only measurement that matters is growth. Michael Jordan was great because he never allowed comfort to control him. Every win was a lesson, not a destination. Every success was fuel for the next climb. When you live like that, when you wake up every day asking, how can I outdo myself, you become limitless. So stop looking left and right. Stop wasting energy on what everybody else is doing. Look in the mirror and say, you are my competition. That's what Jordan did. That's what every legend does. The only person you're supposed to be is you. Because once you conquer yourself, nobody else can touch you. Obsession. That's the word people use when they talked about Michael Jordan. Not motivation, not passion, obsession. Because there's a level of focus you can't reach until your dream becomes the only thing that matters. Jordan didn't just love basketball. He lived it, breathed it, studied it like a scientist. While other players were out partying, resting, or celebrating a win, MJ was in the film room, watching tape, rewinding every play, analyzing every angle. He was addicted to mastery. And that's what most people never understand. Greatness isn't built on balance. It's built on obsession. Everybody says they want to be great until it's time to give up comfort, until it's time to say no to distractions. No to laziness, no to average. But Jordan said no every single day. He said no to mediocrity. He said no to complacency. He said no to being good enough. When people called him crazy, he didn't defend himself. He proved that crazy is what greatness looks like before the world respects it. There's a story from his Chicago Bulls days. After a tough playoff loss, when the entire team went home defeated, Jordan was already in the gym at 6 a.m. the next morning. A reporter asked him why he was back so soon, and he said, because next season starts today. That's obsession. That's the mindset of someone who refuses to let time, fatigue, or failure slow him down. I once met a young man who reminded me of that same fire. He wanted to be a music producer. No connections, no studio, just a laptop and a dream. While his friends were out every night, he stayed in his room, teaching himself, failing, learning, repeating. People laughed at him. They said, you're wasting your time. But he didn't stop. A few years later, one of the biggest artists in the world called him for a collaboration. And when I asked him what changed, he said nothing. I just never stopped. That's what obsession does. It doesn't need validation. It just needs consistency. See, obsession means you're not chasing success anymore. You're becoming it. It means you care so deeply about your craft that you'll sacrifice anything to see it grow. Jordan understood that. He was obsessed with winning, obsessed with improvement, obsessed with legacy. That's why he wasn't just a player. He was a phenomenon. Every move he made was intentional. Every second mattered. You can't have greatness without that fire. You can't be the best and be casual. You can't build an empire working when it's convenient. You have to fall in love with the grind to the point where other people can't even relate to your level of focus. They'll call you obsessed. They'll call you crazy. But one day they'll call you the best. So stop apologizing for caring too much. Stop watering down your ambition to make people comfortable. Get obsessed with your dream, because obsession isn't madness. It's the bridge between talent and legend. Before Michael Jordan ever stepped on that court, he had already won. Not with his hands, not with his talent, but with his mind. That's what separated him from everyone else. He didn't just play the game. He saw the game before it even began. He visualized victory. He played it out in his head 1,000 times until the outcome became inevitable. You couldn't shake his confidence because it wasn't built on hype. It was built on belief. That's why when pressure came, when the game was on the line, he didn't fold. He was already living that moment in his mind long before it ever happened in reality. That's what people don't understand. Winning starts in your thoughts. Before you ever touch your dream, before you ever walk into the arena, before you ever speak that goal into existence, you have to see it. You have to believe it. You have to convince your mind that it's already yours. Jordan didn't wait for success to show up. He mentally claimed it, and then he went out and matched that vision with relentless work. There's a story about how he used to sit in silence before big games, eyes closed, headphones on, not saying a word. His teammates thought he was just getting in the zone. But what he was really doing was seeing the win. He was seeing himself hit the game winner. He was seeing the crowd roar. He was seeing the scoreboard flash, Bulls win. That's not superstition, that's mental mastery. I knew a young boxer once who told me something that stuck. He said, E.T., before I ever get in the ring, I've already fought that fight 100 times in my head. That's the same power Jordan had. When you've seen yourself win enough times in your mind, reality eventually catches up. That's why failure couldn't break him. Missed shots didn't shake him. Every time he failed, he didn't question if he could win. He just reminded himself, I've already seen the win. I just haven't reached it yet. See, most people lose before they even start. They lose in their language, in their attitude, in their belief system. They walk into opportunities already doubting themselves. But Jordan walked in with victory already decided. That's why he played fearless. That's why pressure never defeated him, because he understood that pressure doesn't destroy you. It reveals you. You've got to win the war in your mind before you win it in the world. You've got to see yourself succeeding, even when the scoreboard says you're losing. That's the power Jordan had. Unshakable belief. It wasn't arrogance, it was awareness. He knew who he was. He knew what he'd put in. He knew what he was capable of. So from now on, don't wait for success to prove you right. See it first, speak it, believe it, then go out and live it. Because once your mind refuses to lose, your reality has no choice but to follow. That's what made Michael Jordan unstoppable. He won the battle before it even began. Listen to me, you don't have to wear number 23 to be unstoppable. You just need that Jordan mindset, that refusal to accept average, that decision that says, if I fail today, I'm coming back tomorrow twice as strong. Michael Jordan couldn't lose, not because he never failed, but because failure never defined him. And neither should it define you. So starting today, take your pain, take your losses, take your doubt, and build your legend. Because you were not created to play small. You were created to dominate. Now go out there and play the game of your life like losing isn't even on the table.